Hello, welcome back. Yesterday, I have to admit, yesterday I read parts of the brand new 2003 Manual of the United Church of Canada, and I was very curious because this manual, or new manual, is organized differently. It is a much easier read, I would say. I will not go as far as to claim that is a fun read or something people would like to bring during the holidays and read on the beach, but still, it's easier to read. And the section, I don't know for which reason, I read more attentively, it was about membership in the United Church of Canada. Maybe because it's a topic that is still around somehow across the United Church because people talk about decline in membership and all those things. And as someone who joined the United Church in my early adulthood, the concept of membership was totally foreign and strange for me. And I think for those of us who had an experience outside of the United Church, we understand how people feel when they want to join your church and they're saying, "What this thing about membership?" Because it's so ingrained, it's part of the United Church DNA that those who grew up in the church don't even think about it. Because it comes from a time when everybody belonged to a church. It was a given. Every good Canadian was a good Christian, and every good Christian belonged to a church. And we had this model that you have to belong to a congregation, and this is who we were and who defined us. The thing is, these days, that's not a reality of the people. The reality is completely different. We have people jumping from one denomination to another, people moving around the country. We have people joining for a while a congregation and then going away and coming back. We have people who have no religious affiliation and want to jump in the wagon. And that's a challenge. That's a challenge, and especially a challenge for my own little analysis. I'm not saying that's a scientific and proof analysis, but my own experience. It's a challenge for a generation that have been taught and believe that membership was a sign of commitment. If you want to commit to a congregation, you become a member. If you're not a member, you're not ready to commit. The thing is, we live in a different world. People commit, but they don't see the importance of membership because let's face it, what do we say to them? If you're an adherent, you can do everything. You can come, you can take part of worship, you can go to activities, you can even come annual meeting, talk about the budget. The only thing you cannot do is to vote when people call a new minister. That's what we tell people most often. And the call of new minister is once in every 5 years, so on average. So what's the big deal? And we see membership sometimes as a commitment to serve on committees. So once again, it's a very legal and a preoccupation of will we have enough warm bodies in the future to run this structure. Interestingly, we seem to have a new generation of people coming here that does not care that much about legal status. They want to be here. And where they are is where they are. And when they hear, they're totally here. When they are asked, they will volunteer. If they understand what is at stake, they will do it. But they don't see the point of going in front of a church and have this long class and instruction and things like that. And it's the same with teenagers because, interestingly enough, once again, we link membership with confirmation. Confirmation is supposed to be the confirmation of baptismal vow made for you, and then somehow we link it to some very legalistic approach about, you know, and young people telling us, it's not because when I'm 14 that I say, yes, I believe in God, that means that I want to serve on a committee, or if I'm not going to confirmation, does not mean that I don't believe in God. So somehow, one of the big challenges this conversation about membership, about confirmation, for example, is the assumption that the world that we lived in did not change since the 19th century. And it's not true. The world changed. And I guess it's a call for us to change and to accept that new generation of believers, new generation of people of the United Church have a different take on it. And the church will be different. And it will evolve as it has evolved for the last 2,000 years. So maybe we should be a little less obsessed with numbers, with membership, with keeping long lists of people and making sure that our youth are confirmed before we confirm them before we lose track of them and all those things. And maybe to focus on what we're supposed to do, to worship, to be there for one another, to be a welcoming community. And when people experience that, usually they want to come back. Member or not, regularly or not, they want to come back if they have a positive experience. So what about this? Manuals are good, rules are good. It's important. But sometimes, once again, do we worship God or do we worship our manual? Do we focus on following Jesus or do we focus to following the letter of the law? Sometimes the Pharisees that we like to point finger are sometimes it is us. So I hope that we will continue to explore new ways to be the church and not to be limited in our mind and our structure by regulation, rules, and the past. Have a great week. Take care of yourself. Bye.